Thank you, Angela. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome, friends. Welcome to First Unitarian. Welcome to this sanctuary, which you make sacred by your presence. We're gathering here today to remember Elaine Ali. I'm the Reverend Bob LaValle. I'm a minister here at this church. And a memorial service is a time to put words to our grief, to honor and celebrate Elaine in pictures and stories and music, to let our tears flow freely, and to leave in faith that death is not the final word in our relationships with each other. So may you be comforted and upheld in the company of each other and through the peacefulness of this sacred space. So in this gathering, we form a kind of temporary congregation. And I imagine that this congregation is composed of people with very different ideas about who or what the divine is, and also different aspirations or hopes for what happens after we pass. Those differences we set aside because we are coming here together for several important purposes that unify us, that we're here for our admiration and respect for Elaine, our gratitude for her long life, and our hope that we can be of support to her family and her loved ones as we honor her and celebrate her. So as Unitarian Universalists, we begin all our services by lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith.
We honor all our beloved dead whose bodies have returned to the earth, our home. We honor their lives which shaped our own. We honor their love which is beyond death. And we honor their teachings which teach us still.
My name is Bob, son number 2. The reading I want to share today is called If I Be the First to Die by Nicholas Evans. When I first read it, I was reminded of a nickname that our family gave to my mom. She and Dad played a lot of tennis, and at some point my dad, Mo, got the nickname Blade because he would mow them down. Sometime later, someone suggested that Mom should be Stone because she's steady as a rock and keeps the blade sharp. This feels like something my mom would have said. If I be the first to die, let grief not blacken long your sky. Be bold yet modest in your grieving. There is a change, but not a leaving. For just as death is a part of life, the dead live on forever in the living. And all the gathered riches of our journey, the moments shared, the mysteries explored, the steady layering of intimacy stored, the things that made us laugh or weep or sing, the joy of sunlit snow or first unfurling of the spring, the wordless language of look and touch, the knowing, each giving and each taking. These are not flowers that fade, nor trees that fall and crumble, nor are they stone, for even stone cannot the wind and rain withstand. And mighty mountain peaks in time reduced to sand. What we were, we are. What we had, we have. A conjoined past, imperishably present. So when you walk the wood where once we walked together and scan in vain the dappled bank beside you for my shadow, or pause where we always did upon the hill to gaze across the land, and spotting something reach by habit for my hand and finding none, feel sorry to start to steal upon you. Be still. Breathe. Close your eyes. Listen for my footfall in your heart. I am not gone, but merely walk with you.
The family asked that I share a eulogy, and it's made up of recollections, input from the family. So I'm going to remind folks to put their phones in worship mode. Elaine Ali arrived in this world as Grace Elaine Felix on Friday, March 21st, 1930, in Cleveland, Ohio. Her mom, Frances, was a nurse turned homemaker, and her dad, Ernest, was an electrician and thankfully well employed, despite the fact that the Great Depression had started the year before. Before long, though, the family moved away from Ohio down to the Galveston area in Texas. From the start, Elaine was a bright, curious child, brainy even. She loved attending baseball games with her dad and tracking the score on scorecards. She became knowledgeable about other sports as well. She didn't like her piano lessons much, but she loved singing and eventually picked up the guitar. She was creative, artistic, and crafty. However, she was also remarkably mathematically inclined, which earned her the dubious honor, for a girl of that era, of being the smart one, while her sister was the pretty one. And her brother, smart, handsome, and adored by his sisters. Being the smart one was painful for Elaine, but she certainly made the most of it. After graduating from high school in Galveston, Elaine attended Texas Tech in Lubbock. It's hard to imagine there being many women enrolled back then. In fact, enrollment more than tripled with soldiers from World War II in 1946. But Elaine did well, graduating with a degree in mathematics and a couple of lifelong friends, Jackie and Beverly. After college, Elaine and Beverly were both recruited to the newly public Los Alamos National Labs. Elaine worked as a programmer on some of the world's first computers, and I do mean some of the first. In 1952, one of the first fully electronic computers in the world came online right there at Los Alamos, and Elaine was there. She worked on a team of 10 mathematicians and physicists, about half of whom were women. The mathematical analyzer, numerical integrator, and computer was called the MANIAC for short. It was about 7 feet tall, 9 feet wide, had 3,000 vacuum tubes, weighed over 1,000 pounds. It processed 10,000 operations per second, making it the most powerful computer in the world when it debuted. According to Los Alamos National Labs, programming the MANIAC meant breaking down a program diagram into a collection of system instructions, then punching them onto a paper tape, and the results were either printed or punched onto a new tape. The MANIAC's operators knew the machine so well that they could move data around manually using alligator clips. They could also hear when MANIAC made an error using a radio to listen to the interference patterns that the machine generated. So needless to say, Elaine's work was part of a world-changing moment. And for her, it was a life-changing one as well, because in the vibrant singles scene in Los Alamos Labs, Elaine hiked and played tennis and went to folk dances, which is where, one lucky day, she met Mo Ali. And before long, the two began dating. 2 weeks later, they exchanged their first kiss on a bridge across the Rio Grande, and Mo asked her to marry him, and she said yes. Mo and Elaine were married in 1953. Elaine left the lab in 1954 to focus on raising a family. Over the next 9 years, they welcomed 5 children into the world: David, Robert, Philip, Mary, and Lawrence. They remember their mother with awe. In an era when processed foods were all the rage, Elaine's home-cooked meals were always tasty and healthy, with salad and protein and vegetables and fresh-baked whole wheat bread. She made her own yogurt and froze or canned the surplus of Mo's prolific vegetable and fruit garden. She also sewed blankets, knitted sweaters, painted murals on the kids' bedroom walls, and made elaborate Christmas cards each year with carefully staged family photos of 5 wiggly kids, no small feat. She and Mo instilled a love of the outdoors in their family through backpacking, again with 5 kids, skiing with 5 kids whose feet kept changing sizes, and hiking. And somehow, Elaine dominated women's tennis in Los Alamos and in the state of New Mexico while she was raising her kids. They were avid singers with the Los Alamos Light Opera, the Choral Society, and later in barbershop groups. In 1978, with the kids nearly grown, Elaine went back to the lab to work in data analysis. She'd been away for almost 25 years, but had never forgotten her love of the work. It was a big change after all those years, and not an easy one for everyone, but it was important to her, and she was ready. 10 years after that, with the kids raised and both their careers complete, Elaine and Mo retired together to move to Albuquerque. They had the good fortune to enjoy a long retirement together and a very long marriage. When Elaine died a few months ago on October 20th, she and Mo had been married for 71 years. She was 94 years old and had been blessed with 11 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. And she is remembered for her generosity, her selflessness, her remarkable mind, and her humility. When asked what else they wanted people to know about their mom, Elaine's kids replied, "How much we will miss her." They only wish they could have convinced her of how wonderful she was. And now, we'll get to hear some more of that as members of the family share tributes. And the first tribute comes in the form of music, as suggested by daughter Mary.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Good afternoon. I'm Dave, the oldest of 5. I have to say, incredible young men mostly, and 1 woman. And Mary, thank you for that. It's such a perfect song, The Wind Beneath My Wings, because one of the things about my mom that I think every one of us has appreciated over the years is that she was dedicated to supporting us regardless of the life choices that we made. She was always encouraging, always backed us, and we always knew it. And it didn't matter what choice we took. She wanted us to live our own lives and was always supportive. I've struggled over what to share as a tribute to such a remarkable woman. But what I'm realizing is that you are the tribute to her life. The lives that she's touched, the people that have traveled for miles to come and to be here, and have all been touched and impacted by her lives. This is really the tribute. So thank you for coming. I've raised 2 children. My mom raised 5, and 4 of them were boys. I don't know how she did it. And we were all boys. I couldn't count the number of bumps and bruises and problems and broken bones and falling out of trees and concussions and all the things. Then she was always, always there. I'm reminded of one specific day that my siblings and I remember very well. I think it was September 9th, 1967. Might have been the 7th, but you know what happens in the mind as you get to be my age. My mom went to the emergency room 5 times that day. She woke up with some kind of infection and then had to go in, and then she came home, and we had a guy building a stone fireplace. A stone fell on his head, and she took him in, and she got home, and Larry did something and busted up his chin, and she took him in, and then we differ. I don't remember exactly what the 4th one was. Might have been something with a neighbor, but I remember that afternoon she came home, and I decided it would be a remarkable idea that we had a archery butt in the backyard, and I thought it would be a great idea to climb up on this ladder and shoot my bow at the ladder. And as I was at the top of the ladder, she knocked on the window to tell me to get down, and I turned around, and the ladder fell over. And I said, "Oh, I hurt my knee." And she came out and said, "I am not taking you into that hospital. Get in the bathtub, it'll be fine." I got in the bathtub, and within about 20 minutes, my knee was as big as a grapefruit and purple. We hobbled into the emergency room, and I'll never forget the look on that nurse's face. "Are you here again?" It was remarkable, but it demonstrated to me the level of care. I mean, I just can't imagine the sacrifice, because that was only one day. That didn't count the car crashes and the bike crashes and the things that we all went through as boys. Another time that I remember specifically where she demonstrated it was something totally remarkable to me. We went for a hike. And I don't want to take the time to elaborate on the hike, but the bottom line is we got lost in Bandelier National Monument overnight. It was raining. We had 2 ponchos between my mom and her friend and the 5 of us. I think I was probably around 13 or 14 at the time, and all the rest of us were there. And we wound up spending the night in the rain, lost at Bandelier National Monument. And the one thing that stands out to me so vividly is if she was afraid, I never knew it. And I don't think any of us ever felt her afraid. She was calm, she was collected, she didn't panic like I probably would have had it been me responsible for these 5 kids. And it shows a woman of incredible resilience. And I so appreciated that about her. Thank you, Reverend Bob, for sharing such a beautiful testimony about her life, because it's so true. Everything he said about her, she was just caring and nurturing and just loved us with an unconditional love, and I think we all knew it. And I'm going to share one more just little memory of mine. It was one of the earliest memories of my childhood. We were living on Oakwood Loop, and she decided that she had to develop a way or figure out a way to get us to come home when she wanted us to come home. So she hung this little bell on the front porch, and I remember her training us to respond to the bell. She'd tell us, when you hear the bell, you come home. And she'd tell us to go run away, and then you'd hear ding, 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 and we'd all turn around and run back. Ding, 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 and we'd all turn around and run back. And as we were growing up, she would always tell us, you can go play whatever, do whatever you want, as long as you can still hear the bell. That's your limit. If you can hear the bell, you can go that far. To this day, when I hear a bell, like if I go into a restaurant and a chef rings a bell to call the waitress to tell her the order's up, I kind of respond to that because I hear the bell. My mom, question I have in my own mind, I wonder if she heard the bell. Ding, 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 it's time to come home. It's time to come home. She's home. We love her. We miss her. I could spend hours, but we miss her. We love her, and Mom, thank you for your sacrificial life. Do I have to go over here now?
Thank you, Dave. I gotta say, I'm impressed. We didn't rehearse a lot of this, but I'm impressed with your wonderful talk with no notes. I'm the guy that had all the concussions, so I'm going to use notes. And forgive me if I repeat some of the stuff that Reverend Bob so thoughtfully and wonderfully shared. Some of my talk is about the same. But I'm the guy with concussion. I don't know if I can take those out of my speech. So I'll just go with what I wrote. Thank you all for coming. It really means a lot for you guys all to come here to honor my mother. Before I brag about Mom, I want to share a few things that really resonated with me as I told different friends that Mom had passed away. One thinks one is ready when it happens, but one isn't. Another guy told me, Moms rock, there's nothing like them. Another guy, nobody tells you that grieving is on an installment plan. I began to cry a little right then, saying, it's been a while. And he said, you've prepaid some, but there's more installments to come. Losing your mom, it's a big deal. Half of your fan club is missing. No matter what you do, how you act, or what you say, your mom and dad are always there, cheering you on with love, devotion, affection, and pride. Losing half of that fan club really matters. The last one, don't cry because you can no longer be with Mom. Rejoice because you got to spend time together. I want to lean into that last one a little bit. I feel like we're all gathered here not to mourn Mom's death, not to tell me you're sorry for my loss, not to offer your sympathies. Don't get me wrong, I think about Mom a lot. I miss Mom. I will continue to grieve her loss, and I will be sad at times. But I would like to use this special time we have together to share memories and stories about how great it was to get to know, learn from, and live with Mom throughout her long, rich, and beautiful life. Okay, now I get to brag about Mom. Here are some adjectives that I feel describes my mother: intelligent, humble, generous, loving, loyal, selfless, artistic, musical, athletic, gracious. The list goes on, but I'd like to give you a few examples. On Mom's intelligence, some of this is repeated, so excuse me, but in 1948, Mom graduated from Texas Tech University with a degree in mathematics. This was pretty unusual for a woman in that era. Soon after that, she moved to Los Alamos to take a job at the lab there. In September 1954, a paper was published in a scientific journal written by Enrico Fermi, Nick Metropolis, and ElaineAleiMemorialVideo. Enrico Fermi. It was titled Phase Shift Analysis of the Scattering of Negative Pions by Hydrogen. I typed that into my computer, and the first thing is Microsoft Word tried to spell check the word pions. Well, there's only one irrefutable conclusion to this. Mom is smarter than everybody at Microsoft. On Mom's humility, she co-authored a paper with Enrico Fermi, a Nobel Prize winner and one of the most influential physicists of his time. She never bragged about it. She never told us about it. It wasn't until many years later when Lauren, her granddaughter, dug that up and told us. So let's hear what Wikipedia has to say about Enrico Fermi. Enrico Fermi is unquestionably among the greats of the world's physicists, the most famous Italian scientist since Galileo, called the Pope of Physics by his peers. He was regarded as infallible in his instincts and research. Okay, that was Wikipedia. I'll tell you what Mom said about Enrico Fermi. He was such a nice little man. I think he was being nice to me when he included me on that paper. Many people urged Mom to continue as a mathematician, but she chose to pause her career to raise 5 children. Thank goodness. Mom prepared fresh meals with delicious fresh vegetables from Dad's garden. She found time to make bread and yogurt weekly. Anything she asked, we helped. She'd take Bob to swimming practice at 6 in the morning. She'd help me roll my newspapers every day for my paper route. She worked with Dave with piano lessons. She kept Mary in style. She made football and basketball jerseys for Larry. She was very talented in crafts and art. She knitted, painted murals on walls. She even made a frost-lined jacket for me. Excuse me for a second. This is a little more comfortable than that suit jacket, so I'd rather prefer to wear this. Those who know me know that I have a very difficult time hanging on to things for half a day. I have had this jacket for literally more than half a century. Now, 2 things come to mind on that. This must be a very special jacket. And the second thing is, I literally used literally correctly when I said literally more than half a century. Did I mention athletic? All the while, she dominated women's tennis in Los Alamos and even competed throughout the state. All the while doing all this for us. Mom was very musical. She would have women come over to sing and play guitar. She sang with Dad in the Los Alamos Choral Society. Later she did barbershop chorus. Just a few years ago, she sang with a group called the Good Time Gals, entertaining at senior living communities around Albuquerque. A lot of that musical talent got passed down throughout the family, although not exactly evenly. The way it worked out is Dave and Larry are like here in musical skill and talent. I don't think Mary or Bob would argue that they're here, but I'm certainly down here, okay? I didn't get much of it. On that note, get it? I was talking with Dad a while ago, and he reminisced about how fun it was when Mom would teach us how to sing rounds. I'd like to honor her by teaching you one of the rounds we used to sing and all sing it together. At first, I thought, I'll just wing it. I'll tell them the words, and I'll teach people, and we'll do it just with me. But then I thought, well, maybe I should get some help with these guys. And so I've agreed with them. We're going to put the words up here. And the way I'd like to do it is Larry and I, with the accompaniment of Dave, are going to sing through this once, okay? Then we're going to pause, choose up sides, choose teams, and we're going to do it as a round with Dave playing the chords and all three of us singing, okay? So Dave? White coral bells upon a slender stalk, lilies of the valleys deck my garden walk. Oh, don't you wish that you could hear them ring? That will happen only when the fairies sing. Okay, so let's kind of go in third. This will be Team Larry. Team Dave, you're kind of a third of you over here. Team Dave, okay? In the middle, I'll take it. Team Phil. Now, one thing I want to mention, though, if you're on Team Phil, don't hesitate to change it and sing on key. Remember? So let's try it. I'll start with the middle, then Larry will, no, I'm sorry, Dave. Team Dave is going to do, after walk, that's when Dave's going to come in. Right? I get it. Okay. I wish Mom were here to teach us that, but I think we all got it. So, with accompaniment. White coral bells upon a slender stalk, lilies of the valleys at the cut. Start over. After. Okay. Is that after stop? Stop. Okay. At stop. I'm starting. Oh. You know what? If Mom was here, we wouldn't have this problem. But I want to try it again. Okay. I'm going to start after stop. Team Dave. After walk, Team Larry. We're going to go through it twice. Okay? White coral bells upon a slender stalk, lilies of the valleys at my garden walk. Oh, don't you wish that you could hear them ring? That will happen only when the fairies sing. White coral bells. thought that went well. Back to bragging about mom. There's an Arabic saying that says, if you see a productive adult person with strong ethics and good moral character, all the credit goes to the mother. Although Dad was a big part of this, he always gave full credit to Mom for how we were raised. Mom was also an excellent mother-in-law. She loved, welcomed, and cherished all our mates. She never told us how to raise our children. Mom had 13 grandchildren. She was a loving, devoted, and present grandmother who was a great model for them. Each of them now is a wonderful, productive young adult. Not to undervalue the roles of the fathers, most of the morals and ethics came from their respective mothers. Dee, Sharon, Anita, Mary, I'll get there, Chin, and Jody. I feel the values and character of Mom and Dad filtered to their children through our, let me get this. Now I gotta read it, I'm a concussion. I feel the values and character of Mom and Dad filtered through their children to all of our children. Sound right? As a grandmother, Mom once told Larry, I didn't know I could love my grandchildren more than I love my children, but I do. I thought, you know, Mom, Larry can hear that. He's right there. Mom leaves 11 great-grandchildren, and likely more as the future awaits us. I continue to see great young children raised with love and guidance from Lauren, Sarah, hello, Robin, Justine, and Bree. Thank you for that. It's just wonderful to see the next generation of wonderful, healthy, strong kids. So in closing, I just want to thank Mom. Thank you for being a loving and devoted wife. Thank you for being a loving, loyal, giving, generous, and caring mother. Thank you for being a welcoming and non-judgmental mother-in-law. Thank you for being a doting and compassionate grandmother and a truly great great-grandmother. And most of all, thank you for being an astounding, wonderful, and remarkable human being. I feel so blessed that you got this. I feel so blessed to have the fortune of being her son. One more thing. Since this is a celebration, I can just picture Mom's smile if she saw me with this. And I think she would really like it.
That was a lot. So why don't we pause now with all that's been shared in this room for a moment, and maybe we can join our hearts in prayer. Holy One, who we call by many names and no name, We give you thanks for the life of Elaine Ali, for all the love that she gave, and for all that she has left with us. Grant us the healing of our hearts, bit by bit, day by day, that we can soon find an easing of our loss. Help us to take the values of Elaine's life into our own lives and live fully with them, that she might live on in us and with us for all our days. We pray that if in anyone's heart there lingers any trace of misunderstanding or regret, that there may be the healing of forgiveness. Where there has been warmth and love, we remember the gratitude, and we give thanks for the light of love that persists through death and lives in our hearts and lives. And we bless Elaine in her passing. With deep respect and thanks, we bless her as she returns to the source of all being from which she was born. I invite all gathered now into a moment of silent prayer and reflection on Elaine and her life. Blessed be. We live leaning towards the future, yet knowing that all we are guaranteed is this day. Therefore, let us live meaningfully. Let the light of Elaine's life flow forward in your own lives. Live well, explore, love, give. Go out with a heightened sense of the gift that life is. Love your friends, your family, and yourself, beloved child that you are. In these ways, let Elaine's life take on the meanings that spread out far beyond their years, so her memory may be a blessing upon your lives and upon the world. Now the service is about to end, And the family invites you to join them in the social hall for refreshments and companionship, and I hope some more storytelling. And I want to let folks know that the postlude you'll hear as we are leaving is a recording of The Shadow of Your Smile, played on the harp by Elaine's niece, Nanette. Lovely. And so with that, amen. Blessed be. And go in peace.